It did! Yay! Yay, everybody. We're gonna look at things. Okay. Now it's up. Yay, hello Elizabeth, I can see you. Oh, thank you, Alan. Good to see you too. Good to see you too. Okay. We're up and running, everybody. Okay. So, now we can finally discuss what was happening with C and the rest of them. Wait, first things first. Everybody go on YouTube, please, because one more thing that I wanted to show you was that our former president Yanukovych, remember that guy? Oh my god, of course, how can we forget? That's the one that fled Ukraine like millions of years ago during the Revolution of Dignity, the traitor, right? The one who fled for Russia. He then disappeared, and there were all of these rumors about him being an alcoholic somewhere on the outskirts of Moscow, or maybe him living with Assad, Bashar al-Assad, the Syrian ex-dictator, who is also somewhere in Moscow, that perhaps they're sharing a villa together and that they will be starring in a reality show together. Anyway, so there were also rumors about him being dead. Russians recently resurfaced him. They have taken him out of his hideout, they have bleached his teeth, and they have showed him to us for the first time in years. This is him, which is positively terrifying, but also, why cannot I hear what you are saying? Maybe it's for the best that I can't. No, okay. I haven't heard this voice in such a long time. Thank you, Maddie. Look at his teeth, you guys. To those of you who are on YouTube, please. This is unnatural. I hate this guy. Lying about how he was controlling the process of us entering the European Union. The very reason we had Maidan, the Revolution of Dignity, in the first place was because this guy promised us to sign the trade association with the European Union and then backed out at the last moment and was like, oh, actually, no, we're not going to do that. And this is what a bunch of students went out to protest, and then it turned into Maidan. A liar. But he is alive, and also on Ozempic, by the looks of it, because he used to be chunkier, you guys. Why is it always men, says Claire. Oh, Claire, I wish I knew. Yanukovych, yes, he is back. He is back, and he has a lot of things to say. So, to those of you who do not remember, there was a part of their plan, apparently, some time ago, back in 2022, one of the plans that they had in mind, the Russians, for when they were supposedly going to take over. Remember how they attempted the Blitzkrieg, right? They were attempting to take over the entire country and then install the puppet government. One of the plans was to put back this guy, so Yanukovych, in charge, because one of the possible moves that they were considering was to say that, okay, Zelensky is illegitimate, this guy is still legitimate. He's like the last legitimate president Ukraine had, because Russia really likes to claim that everything that happened after the Revolution of Dignity is illegitimate, everything that was before is legitimate, so he's legitimate. So they brought him to Belarus back in 2022, and he was sitting there in the forest somewhere waiting to be then, I don't know, I guess parachuted into Kiev and become our president again, which thankfully didn't happen. But yeah, they're currently trying. I'm not sure what is the scenario they're currently probing. Maybe they're hinting at something like this still being possible. Maybe they're going to proclaim him. That was another possibility, by the way, of proclaiming him like a president of the territories that they have occupied, right? So the territories in the east and in the south of Ukraine that the Russians have occupied, turning them into this Malorossia, like Little Russia, as they like to call it, and then installing something like this as their leader. Yeah, wanted to show this to you guys. Also, sorry, I will chat. Sorry guys, I didn't see you all. Hello everyone. Hello. It's okay. We have Zoe and Sana and Jason and Dog Mom. Hey guys, sorry, I will have to open the chat like this because I don't have the thing to read the chat from. I will have it next time. Hello, Alice. Talk Mom Life had to download the app. I'm sorry for putting you through this trouble. Valerie and Vicky, hello guys. Too much Botox, right? Yeah, I am away. The world's different because I am away. I'm gonna be away for a couple weeks, so don't freak out on me, okay? Right, he's totally on Ozempic, I know. Vicky says, I don't understand people that gets the teeth done and then they're size too big for the mouth that looks stupid, right? And Valerie says it's a clone. Maybe. Honestly, it could be all of the above. And hello, Jabari. Hello. And those shiny white teeth with Botox. Maybe he should add some tanning. You guys just roasted the hell out of our former president. Yeah, a lot of problems here. I would also, honestly, I would do something about the eyebrows. I would do something about the pathetic hairline. And but also, can you believe it that, oh, thank you, Cinderella. Thank you so much for the beautiful rose. Aw, is this the one from Beauty and the Beast? I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. So back in the day, this guy used to be considered like Mr. Handsome. Can you believe that? That was one of the things one of the reasons why grandmas were voting for him. They're like, oh, he's so handsome. He's such a manly man, such a guy, such a dude. And he was already like 1,000,000 years old back then. Anyway, that's our former president. This is also still a bunch of bookmarks from September 1st, back when everybody thought that maybe Trump died. No, of course he didn't die. Of course he didn't. Okay, so this had to do with Ursula. Anyway, and this was the beginning, right? The beginning of Tianjin, right? As you can see, everyone's just very happy to see each other. So this was from the gathering that all of these leaders had in China. We're also live on YouTube, everybody, if you would like to see the stuff that we're discussing. Also live on YouTube. It's linked in the bio. Finally, it's happening. Look at them, all cozy. Modi's so happy. He wants to kiss them both on the mouth, both Putin and Xi. Sorry for putting this image in your heads. So one of the main points of this whole event was the optics, and it worked. It really worked. It was supposed to show this facade, this illusion of unity between these countries, which is not really there if you dig a little deeper, in particular if you dig deeper between the relationship of India and China. There's so much so much controversy between the two countries, but they're trying to project this, as Xi's propaganda stated. We're going to look at them in a second. The illusion of the multipolar world, as they call it, which is not really a thing, right? You have to be, I guess... Okay, maybe we'll get into this later for why this is not a thing. But I was really surprised to see that it actually, that it actually worked. And the first thing I saw was a bunch of analysts. I started by reading Ukrainian analysts and also some of the Western ones freaking out about the situation. They're like, oh, this is it. The Ukrainian analysts, like the expert, everybody, they were like, this is it. It's over. We're so over, we're doomed. Look at them getting along so well, and the Western partners cannot agree on anything, right? This division in the West, and here is such glorious unity. And I was like, wow, this gathering in China really did achieve some of its main goals, because this was definitely to create this idea of their unity where there is not necessarily any unity to begin with. It was one of the main things. Okay, they managed to do that, I guess. Interesting, sure, why not? But for now, as I've already told you guys, the only main result of this meeting was what we've heard from India, right? The fact that they will continue to buy Russian oil. Everything that came from Putin, for instance, and everything that had to do with Russia, everything that had to do with like Russian-Chinese relationship. There were all of these loud headlines, but in reality, they didn't really mean much. What do I mean by that? So, for instance, there was this headline, Russia and China just signed another document on the natural gas pipeline from Russia into China, right? It's called the Sila Sibiri 2, the power of Siberia 2. And it made it sound as if this has some, in some way finalized the project or, made it closer to becoming reality. No, it wasn't. It was just an additional paper that they signed. This is something that they have been discussing for a while, and there's a lot of logistical issues for this project, understandably so. And a lot of disagreements, mainly about who's going to pay for the pipe, who's going to control the pipe, and all of these other things. Okay, there was that. There was also like a bunch of minor headlines about, the Russians are going to go to China visa-free, which they already had. They already had a simplified procedure of visiting China, so I'm not entirely sure what was that all about. Then something about Russians now being able to sell some kind of elk to China as well, which they've also been doing for decades. So a lot of these things that were actually true, they were just sort of, rehashed and then put out there as something new and groundbreaking that has happened, when in reality it hasn't. It's just that obviously a lot of people are not paying attention to the fact that Russians have already been selling this stupid elk, or whatever that was, I don't remember. Marabu, I think, is the name of this poor deer. And it's a barbarian procedure what they're doing to those baby deer, so don't look it up. But anyway, they've been doing this for decades, right? And just because no one was paying attention to them selling the deer to China, this is why it's now has this sensational vibe to it, I guess. So, yeah. What was with the hand holding? What was with the kissing, huh? Trump is fine, says, I know, we all know. It was hard to miss the fact that he was fine. Okay, sorry, YouTube, I will have to look at you like this. I will have to open you. Привет. Wait, okay, I think I already said hi to you, Jabari. Sharing Trump's tenor. You mean Putin's clone. Okay, no, that's for sure. Oh, really? Oh, I need to read up on that, honestly. I'm not sure. And hi, Karen. Hi to you, too. Okay, let us go back to some of the Chinese propaganda, everybody. It's not as bad. In fact, I would say it's quite professionally crafted. It's just, I think if I had to point my finger, if I had to pinpoint what is this main characteristic, what is the defining feature of the Chinese propaganda, unfortunately, it's how boring it is. The North Korean one, I think, is much more fun with their songs and stuff. The Chinese one, not really. But for instance, this is one of their main accounts, the CGTN official. This is them on Twitter. So you have this upbeat looking guy, right? First voice.
This week in Tianjin, China hosted the largest ever summit of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or SCO. And the deliverables from this year's summits are remarkable. First of all, at the Tianjin summit, President Xi Jinping of China proposed the Global Governance Initiative, or GGI.
Global
This
governance.
is the latest vision proposed by the Chinese leader on top of his global initiatives on development,
Global
security,
initiatives,
and
security, civilization.
Together, they represent China's vision of a fair
world order,
solutions to making it a reality.
and China's solutions to making it a reality.
An orderly multipolarization of global affairs, and a more just and equitable global governance system with economic development at its core. It is also saying that the era of one or two countries calling all the shots should end and must end.
Mustn't.
Instead of great powers issuing ultimatums, China wants dialogue over division.
Another thing that I want to point out immediately, this is something that a lot of you might not know, because why would you? If you've ever watched any Soviet television, this would be the first thing that would pop into your head, because it's very similar to the way the Soviet dictators would do the news. And obviously I wasn't there to witness it, but I have seen the recordings. For some reason, why was my family showing it to me? I will never know. But anyway, all of these words, right? All of these loud... Thank you. All of these loud words, all of the everything, globalization, perfect, strongest, most beautiful in the world. Like, all of this, like very dramatic, very emotional, and a lot of characteristics that are positive of the things that you want your audience to like. And then, of course, there are some derogatory, well, not necessarily derogatory, but let's say the other way around, maybe not so nice type of vocabulary being used to talk about the people and countries you don't like. In case of the Soviet Union, was the imperialистические хищники. A lot of you guys, they were calling the Western countries like the imperial predators. So, anyway. So, but yeah, you can see just based one more thing. One more convenient thing about the propaganda in the states where the state controls the media, you can guess immediately, you can tell what is the message they're trying to push. Right? What is the main sentiment? What is the vision here? What are they trying to do? And I think, yeah, this is definitely one of the instances. And here he openly says, right, this is what they want. They want to show that there is this multipolar world, that I guess the reign of America is over, as they like to say. Anyway, let's also listen a little bit.
This year marks the 80th anniversary since Chinese people's war of resistance against Japanese
This is also very important.
And the World Anti-Fascist War, aka the World War II. The SAO leaders issued a statement to honor that occasion. Never forget lessons of World War II.
This is like literally exactly Russian propaganda. This is also what the Russians are saying as well. And this is something that has been popping up recently more and more in the Chinese informational space. And so I think it's one of the very common tricks that you might have noticed. I think you can also come up with examples of your politicians doing similar thing. So when the situation gets rough, I don't know, economically, maybe there's some sort of crisis, maybe there's something, right? And you do not have any present enemies, like you do not have a group of people that is currently existing that you could blame. You take a look around and you look at your own past and you start paying a lot of attention, and you start forcing the people to pay attention to the grievances of the past, right? Especially the traumatic events of the past. And for many of us, the World War II has been one of those prime examples. So recently it has been with this anniversary, right? 80th anniversary coming up, there has been more and more and more of this type of sentiment on the Chinese television, and in just the conversations overall. I think in the media space overall, you could see a lot of this, a lot of the going back to the World War II. We will never forget. We will never forgive. And this was okay. They never said never forgive, never forget. And also, this is a very convenient excuse to show, how wonderfully militarized you are now, which was one of the points of the parade that they threw. But anyway, never forget the
nationalism,
racism,
the notion that
knock it
one
off.
Race or culture is superior, is born to lead. Those toxic ideas led humanity into catastrophe.
I never heard I would ever hear Chinese state, I don't know how to call this person. Who are you? Anyway, Chinese state media using the word toxic, and yet here we are. Okay.
Indeed, the SAO declaration condemned attempts to revive fascist ideologies or distort the history and legacy of that victory.
Okay, wait, I think there was something. No, he's just going to continue with this. We're not going to do that. Anyway, not as exciting, I think, as some of you were expecting it to be, but well, it gets the point across. And it's also much better than another type of stuff that they like to do. To be fair, this is the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But wait, which was... Yeah, the 5 core concepts: sovereign equality, international rule of law, multilateralism, which is their basic pathway, the people-centered approach, especially for Putin, I'm sure. This is... Anyway, a lot of these words were flown around. Another thing, and also several analysts were also pointing this out. main purposes of this gathering was to show that Xi is totally in charge. So we constantly talk about all of the rumors, all of the conversations, all of everything that has to do with Putin and his health problems, and his clones and his health problems. We have buried Trump, 3 times last week. So we constantly talk about all of these problems of all of these leaders. But with Xi in particular, the rumors are also just as persistent about his declining health as pretty much with any other leader of such a scale. And it was the case for a while. Then there was a period of time for which he disappeared, and then he reappeared and he started projecting the image of, everything is good, everything is perfect. He traveled to Tibet for the anniversary of the occupation, when they're commemorating the occupation of Tibet. And then also he did some visits, I think, in Southeast Asia. And this is, of course, this gathering right here is supposed to be the culmination, I guess, right? To show how not only is he in perfect health, he's also in charge, and he's leading the way, and all of these leaders are coming, to him and recognizing him as the new big guy on the block. But yeah. Anyway, there was a pretty good article about that. Okay, sorry, let me see what you guys are saying. You guys. Anyway, this was just about... Okay, we already talked about Ursula. Because of YouTube glitching, the entire timeline of how this live stream was supposed to go, everything is broken. Everything is broken. Sorry. That was on the topic of Yanukovych. Because, I guess you could imagine the reactions that the Ukrainian Twitter was having. It was insane. If Ukraine is going to allow Russia to take its land, then... Right, Mu says it's from Soviet playbook. Exactly. 100%. 100%. Sometimes I'm getting this feeling of deja vu when I listen to them. It's like listening to Время, or something. One of those Soviet era shows. It shows news. All right. We've already discussed all of this. Okay, another interesting thing that happened. So, do you guys remember Fico? Do you guys remember the Prime Minister of Slovakia? So this is him, a very controversial figure, not a friend of Ukraine, very murky past this guy has, and also one of the notorious lovers of Putin, next to Viktor Orban, Hungary's one and only. Anyway, this is him during Xi's little gathering in China. What is he doing there, you might ask? Well, talking to Putin, of course. What else would he be doing there? Also, Hungarian Minister of Foreign Affairs was also there, by the way. Just FYI. Anyway, so this is Fico talking to Putin, complaining to Putin about Ukraine attacking the pipe. I cannot with these people.
Президентом Украины в городе Ужгород. И я буду очень серьезно открывать этот вопрос, потому что невозможно, чтобы осуществлялись такие атаки на для нас очень важную инфраструктуру. 4 миллиарда кубометров.
Anyway, so as you can see, he's complaining to Putin about Ukraine blowing up the pipe. Which is, okay, this is something you would expect. We discussed the Druzhba pipeline before, and, nothing new, right? This is something that you would totally expect from someone like Fico, what else is new? But, interestingly enough, the next thing he does, meaning Fico, he goes and meets with Zelensky. So, he came to Ukraine. Where is the article that I had? And all of a sudden, he started talking about how much of a fan he is for Ukraine joining the European Union. Well, not necessarily a fan, but that Slovakia is gonna support it. That was the most shocking part to me. So after this little conversation with Putin, where it seemed as if, he's just very, very much against us, then he flies to Ukraine and, well, not flies, walks, I want to say what. He enters Ukraine, he comes to Ukraine, he meets up with Zelensky, continues saying all of this stuff, about how we have to give up our territories, but that's more and more people saying this these days. But also, yeah, there were some really surprising notes. I cannot find the exact article, but it was basically him saying that, the most important thing is to finish the war, to end the war, and also that Slovakia is going to support Ukrainian aspiration for the European Union. That was very unexpected. But also, again, with these people, is it though? Knowing, how they change their trajectory whenever they want to. Okay, I guess. So anyway, there was also this. My conspiracy, though, if you would like to know my conspiracy about the situation, is that I believe what actually happened was he also brought some sort of a message. He brought some sort of a message, maybe for Zelensky, maybe from Putin, I don't know from whom. But we will not know what it was till later. Anyway, I also wanted to discuss this one. With North Korea wiping traces of Kim Jong-un after Beijing meeting with Putin. So many things were happening in the last couple days. It was so exciting, you guys. I couldn't even believe that something like this could be possible. I couldn't believe you could just take someone's toilet with you from a diplomatic summit, but apparently you can. Or can you? So apparently after Kim Jong-un, do you guys remember who Kim Jong-un? I mean, yeah, how could we forget? After he met with Russian president, one and only Putin, North Korean staffers carefully wiped off items touched by the country's supreme leader in what an analysts say is part of a suite of security measures to counter foreign spies. Even with the appearance of budding friendship between Kim and Putin, footage on Wednesday showed the reclusive state's extraordinary measures to conceal any clues about Kim's health. Right? So normally you would expect something like this to be done by Putin himself. But I guess, yeah, Kim is learning. He's learning from the best because they're doing the same thing after meeting with Putin. Gee, I wonder why. I wonder why they don't trust each other. They seem like such good friends. They seem to be on board because this was accompanied by all of the statements from these people, from Kim in particular, stating that he fully supports all of Russia's goals and their territorial sovereignty and their fight and their whatever. And at the same time, you're also wiping the bathrooms for any traces of your DNA. Huh? Why? What is happening, Mr. Kim? What is going on? I wonder. Anyway, that's just... This is the cake shaped like Lenin. Just no context. I'm not gonna give you any context, everybody, but I just wanted to show it to you. A Lenin in a mausoleum shaped cake. Guys, if you're not on YouTube, please go to YouTube and see the Lenin shaped cake because you're gonna like it. Laura says Slovakia in one moment supports Ukraine and EU in another moment they don't. Have you noticed they've been doing this, right? I thought I was going crazy with them. But yeah, they've been doing this. It's been like this. Ah, Christ. Anyway, Lenin cake, everybody, what do we think about the Lenin cake? Right, Maddie, exactly. They don't want anyone to study his health. That's 100%. And Putin does the same thing too. So, I wonder why, says Mew. How can they actually eat or drink when they meet? So I think it was Putin who was carrying like a little flask with him back in the day. So maybe they continue with something like that. It's hard to say. Maybe Kim also has a little flask. As for eating, I really doubt it. I wouldn't eat in any of those people's presence if it were up to me, you know. Maybe it's like a potluck type situation. Everybody brings their own dish. Putin can bring a Lenin cake, perhaps. Anyway, this was at the same time. So we just talked about all of these illusions that they tried to project and all of these things they tried to make us believe. Well, at the same time, something that was truly important, so we were talking before, right? No, I'm not going to subscribe to the Moscow Times. We were talking before about how one of the main goals of this trip is for Putin to see how much he can get out of sea how much support he can get for the war, economic support, whatever, right? And one of the things that I was really concerned about is that he will inevitably try and bring Xi and China back into this different payment system, so Russian payment system. So they have this equivalent of the Visa and MasterCard, I guess, which it's not on the same level, obviously. It sucks. It's called Mir. So peace, which is ironic, and it's basically the Russian, I guess, card system, but it's practically useless anywhere else. And one of the Putin's goals and ideas has been to try and, I guess, introduce more countries into the system. So to force his dear friends or beg his dear friends to also start using these cards. So far, no one has agreed. But of course, if China did, this would be major for them, right? This would be a huge boost for their economic relationship. But no, not only did Xi refuse to do that, he also refused to return the Chinese Union Pay system into Russia. So this was obviously a major blow. We'll have to see that. I also like this picture of Putin because of how silly he looks. Anyway. So yeah, so far it was one of the reasons for why I didn't really understand why so many people were freaking out about the summit. Obviously nothing good, of course, but what is good these days? At the same time, it could have been significantly worse. Things that we're seeing coming out of the summit, not as horrible as they could have been. And now finally to the main dish. So many of you might have heard that an interesting conversation was picked up by the media between Putin and Xi, and also Kim Jong-un was also there somewhere. And they were caught talking about living to 150 years and maybe forever, thanks to organ transplants, which was not creepy at all. It's like you haven't lived enough. You've already been living forever. It's enough. Now that was super creepy. Also, you can see Fico in the background, I think, in this video. Wait, let me show you. We just discussed... Look, this is Fico. This is Mr. Slovakia right here in the background. Also, Sijarto is also somewhere here, but I cannot see him for some reason. Well, the rest of the characters I think we know. God. Yeah. What do we think about the possibility of these people living till 150 years old? I'm not excited about that one for some reason. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Wait, let me see what the YouTube people... Are you guys still here? Do you think Trump is sad that he was not invited? He made some weird comments, as you might have heard. I don't know if you guys have heard. Wait, where was this? Well, it wasn't really a comment, was it? It was a truth that he truthed, as he does on his Truth Social. And this is the truth in question. Looks like we've lost India and Russia to deepest, darkest China, says Trump. May they have a long and prosperous future together. President Donald J. Trump. Now this was confusing. What? It's like you're sending them off to be married or something. Okay. You know that it's really hard to try and make sense from the truths that this man truth is, and some of the things that he says. Actually, most of the things that he said. But yeah, it wasn't even like cryptic. It was just weird, and not the type of statement that you would like to see, especially given the moment. But yeah, all right. Especially when you're thinking, wait, wasn't the last several months of diplomacy targeted towards you, trying to, I guess, bring Russia back into the orbit or something, or at least mend the bridges, whatever it is that you goons were saying you were trying to do. It was, we've covered it, right? We talked about this so many times, how this is what they're trying to do, right? All of these things or whatever. Okay, we have, I guess, kind of sort of accepted this by this point in time. And now, boom, there you go. We have lost it to the Dark Lord, China. I don't understand anything. We will have to wait and, make our judgment based on actions, because nothing makes sense so far. But then again, it's Truth Social, so what do I even want from this? I don't know. Also, we were supposed to have a protest today in Ukraine, but we're not gonna have it. Apparently, it was cancelled. This is it's a developing story. We will be keeping an eye out on that one. It has to do with our government basically trying to vote in a bunch of laws that are extremely unpopular, not just among the people, but among the military in particular. And so it was interesting to see them backing away almost immediately. The people started saying that they're going to go, and protest. Something sad that I also wanted to talk about. So there was, back in August, I'm not entirely sure if we covered this or not, there was this footage of the Kherson farmer. Yes, this is a farmer from Kherson, everybody. Kherson, southern region of Ukraine, right? I think many of you remember what Kherson is. So a farmer in Kherson protecting his fields and himself and his workers from the Russian drones, because the human safaris in Kherson continue to be a daily occurrence. And this was the story of one of these landowners, Alexander Gordienko, who said, "We Ukrainians have never simply given up our land. We settled here, we lived here, worked hard for many years, and now we should abandon everything. I cannot do that. So I decided to fight," he said. And this is what he has been doing. So he has been using his, what is this? I'm not exactly sure what type of weapon this is, because I'm not really proficient in the weapons. But this is what he has been using to try and shoot down the drones. And for a while, I guess it was even relatively successful, but unfortunately not for too long, because it was reported today that he was killed. So today this farmer was killed by the Russian drone. So, because again, the situation, it continues. The human safari unfortunately continues. They continue killing people daily with their drones. So yeah, just something that I wanted to say. A story. Alexander Gordienko was his name. This is him again. That's the guy. Oh. Vance is worse. Oh, I agree. I think he's worse too. But also I think... Wait, I think I missed the context. What are we talking about? Okay. Oh, now I see the question. Will he do a better job after Donald goes bye-bye to help Ukraine? No. Trump doesn't care about us. I have a feeling that JD hates us. That he just... And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he is backed by Peter Thiel. And a lot of these people, I don't know what exactly is it that we did to them, to the super powerful tech bros in the Silicon Valley, especially the likes of Thiel. But they hate us. They like Russia. They like Russian model. They like how the oligarchy is ruling Russia. And I guess that could be one of the reasons. I imagine they must have some connections in Russia as well. So yeah, just simply based on that and the statements that he was making in the past, I got a feeling that this character just absolutely despises us. But then again, I don't really think he likes anyone, if we're being honest. Okay, let me see what you guys are saying, if you're saying anything. Whoop, message was retracted. No, I didn't see your messages, Elizabeth. Why did you retract them? Okay, well, this we have already discussed. While the YouTube was launching. And by the way, we've mentioned, right, how Fico is saying that we should be, ready to give up the land. This is something that recently it's been popping up more and more and more, even in the, mainstream media, like this is the Telegraph saying, right, the ugly truth is Ukraine would be better off trading land for peace. So it feels like they're preparing the ground for this, for this type of deal happening in the future. Which again, I think we talked about this before. I'm not sure though. So, yeah. George says, we have a statue of Lenin in Seattle. The neighborhood likes to dress it as a drag queen. Honestly, I think if only he had a chance to become a drag queen, none of this nonsense would have ever happened. You would have made a good one, I feel like, just... It seems quite accurate, says Mew. The discussion about land and peace is on the news outside Ukraine as well. Right. Yeah, I think it's going to happen. There's going to be some sort of... It's not going to be a swap, as they like to call it. It will be just us giving up some territory and perhaps the recognition of Crimea, which is, I don't think the people who are proposing this, like this character who wrote it for the Telegraph, for instance, I don't think they understand the real implications of the situation for them. They think that it's just about us, but it's not, right? When you break these rules, it's never just about one country, really. It's actually, it has a potential to start a whole domino effect. But yeah, I guess they don't think about it this way, huh? That you cannot just do stuff like this and then hope it goes away. It will come back and it will bite you on the where. So try to explain this to these people. They're in denial. Denial is a river in Egypt. Okay, you guys, it was a very chaotic one, but I was still live for what? How long? It was an hour and a half, I think. Okay, we're gonna do a little more. But unfortunately, because of how chaotic things were, I have lost some of the structure that I had in mind, some of my plans. And now I'm desperately trying to scramble and trying to see what it is that I have forgotten to talk about. I hate it when this stuff happens, but it will be better next time. Don't worry. I know you're not worried, but just in case. Okay, let me know if you have any questions, okay? If you have any questions, anything you would like to know, let's just chat for a little bit, and then we will be wrapping this one up. Elizabeth says, I retracted me talking about how much I hate Trump because, well, okay, that's fair. That's fair. The other drag queens would have read him to filth. And he would have bored them to death, so... yeah, I think couch could be the only way around it. The gun was a shotgun. Okay, well, I guess it was good for a while, but then it wasn't, unfortunately. It sucks when you read these stories of these people. And it's, you read them as these like motivational pieces and they're sharing their lives and experience, and then boom, and it's just gone. So it's devastating stuff, everybody. Is the EU doing anything about Fico and Orban? Yes, I could. Well, I'm not sure about Fico, but with Orban, yeah, there's been some work, and I think it's one of the reasons why he has been freaking out so badly. But yeah, currently it's not really something active. It's mostly they were talking about possible sanctions. They were talking about possible measures, but I got a feeling, at least, when was it? I don't remember the timeline, but I had the feeling that something was also being said behind the closed doors to him that has a greater impact. But I also told you that he's going to use this topic of Ukraine as a bargaining chip for as long as he can, right? So, for instance, what they're doing now, right? They're blocking the talks about the possible Ukraine EU acceptance. So they're going to continue doing this before they get something out of the EU. So there's going to be a lot of that. Whether or not there is any mechanism that could regulate this type of stuff, I don't think there is for now, at least. Definitely something has to be introduced in the future. But I got a feeling that there's something happening at the background. Or maybe it's just me being delusional. I'm not sure. I am not sure. Daily life depends on where you are in the country. If you are in the frontline cities, it's not really a normal life anymore, if we're being fair. If we're being honest, in the parts of the country that are the further away you are from Russia, the better the quality of life is, basically. So, yeah, but that's because it wasn't the part of this was never really the plan, right? It was never really the plan. No one ever wanted us in the NATO. If they did want us in the NATO, we would have been in the NATO. But there were all of these concerns for years on end, right? About Ukraine joining NATO. We were considered a very unreliable partner just several years ago. Actually, still, if you listen to some of the coverage, the way some of the NATO members talk about us, for instance, there isn't just not enough trust. So, right, Loris, exactly, right. The plan to strip them of their voting rights. For now, it's more like a threat. But I think, yeah, it could definitely be the case in the future. Not even for the sake of us, but, considering that there is the looming war on the horizon for everyone else as well, you should definitely come up with some sort of mechanism to regulate this stuff, because what do you mean you cannot make any important decisions on your own defense because some guy with his 30 zebras and a 30 million euro mansion is against it because he doesn't like whatever, It's so silly. You have to do something about this, because otherwise how do you even survive? How are we supposed to live, love in these conditions, huh? With Viktor Orban looming on the horizon. But yeah, some sanctions would be nice, of course. Ideally. I don't understand why not NATO. So much to learn. Fundamentally, it's because we're still seen as Russian. This is the main problem. Still seen as the Russian sphere of influence, as part of the Russian. Thank you. Part of the Russian world, part of the Russian whatever. You can hear it. You can hear it in the speeches of the politicians. You can hear it slipping every now and then. You can recognize it in the treatment, some of the rhetoric, right? It's still pretty much there. And thank you. I think that's the underlying problem. But also there are other things as well. But nothing really compares to that. I think it's honestly, at some point, it's even more of a cultural thing than it is the political or even military. Because especially right now, thank you everybody, I see you all. If you think about it, right, exactly, so much we could join the experience, we could learn from each other, we could right. We're gonna do all these things, but also we're gonna do it while keeping each other at a distance. There is this gap between us, unfortunately. I am not entirely sure what else should happen for this gap to disappear. Maybe time is needed. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. Oh well, it's just my guesses, you know. Like with Turkey, it's a little bit different, right? Because Turkey is only there as a deterrent, right? So that they wouldn't be somewhere else, so that they wouldn't be against NATO, pretty much, right? That's the logic here. It's an interesting it's an interesting one, really, on so many layers, especially if you add the situation with Cyprus to the mix. But yeah, that was the logic with it. And also, Turkey doesn't have this looming presence behind its back. If behind Turkey there was something else, like a gigantic former empire of sorts, then it would have been a different conversation. Turkey is a former empire, right? It's the Ottoman, what's left of the Ottoman Empire. And also, if you look at the state of things and the state of diplomacy, you might recognize that a lot of the language and the attitude and the customs that is still widely used in the diplomatic circles, they are very much the remnants of the imperial days, and empires recognize empires. So the colonies, you know, something that is seen as this peripheral, whatever, insignificant something, they're still not treated, obviously, on the same level, on the same scale, with the same respect even as the former empires are. Just look at the way Russia's been treated, despite everything that they have done. I think there is a significant portion of it is the imperial heritage. At least this is what it feels like sometimes, that it's this lens. Shouldn't Germany or Poland or EU take Kaliningrad from Russia? They're not gonna do that, but unfortunately. One of the reasons for that is because what we just discussed. Then there is the fact that everyone is scared to do something real against Russia because everyone is scared of retaliation, which is very, very, very possible. There's been a lot of bravado coming in, right? A lot of if NATO enters the war and Russia's going to be done in the couple of days. Even if that's the case, in that couple of days, they will still manage to cause significant damage. They have Iskander launchers sitting in Belarus capable of hitting Poland and Germany and more countries, right? Maybe for the next live, I will pull up the map of the Iskander range. And also they have moved the nuclear warheads to Belarus for this reason exactly. So yeah, no one's gonna do that. Everyone will hope for the best and try to wiggle their way out of the situation. So hi TJ, hello. We're already wrapping up, but good to see you. Good to see you anyway. Good to see you. My actual thoughts on the US. I've never been to the US. So whenever people ask me this, I feel like it's very important to clarify that. I have never been there. So I know, despite the popular opinion, we used to get people in the chat thinking that I've been secretly in the US all along, but no, that was not the case at all. So thank you. Yeah, nobody really talks about the Ottoman Empire. And it's also, there is a similar trend with the Russian Empire too. They're not seen as the empires in the traditional sense of the word because of how they were expanding, right? That because of the way they were expanding by moving their physical borders. For some reason, it's not, I guess, imperial enough for some for some people, but also because a lot of this discourse was formed later on. Especially during the Soviet time, and yeah, it has a certain angle to it that tends to pay extra attention to the Western Empire. Western empires, all different empires, Spanish, French, British, you name it, and then kind of somehow ignore and omit the Russian Empire for some weird reason. Who knows? I guess we'll never know. I feel that Crimea is good. Yeah, Crimea is. It is. I think we've talked about this, no? Haven't we, guys? Of course it is. It is gone. It's just the matter of the normalization right now. This is what's important. Will they normalize it? Will Trump come out tomorrow and say, okay, Crimea is Russian now? Because the implications of that will be huge for everybody. And, well, for Europe, first and foremost. Because then, if they actually do that, I think the next thing they're going to do, they're going to go on with the... Remember all of the talks about them annexing Greenland? That would be the gateway to that. Because if you normalize annexation and occupation on such a scale, why not? What the hell is happening? Keeps happening. People keep ringing into this place by mistake. No, well, I mean, maybe on paper, AJ, but obviously they're not going to do that, right? They only recognize power. They are recognizing power, and they're not recognizing any of the signed agreements or anything. So, and no one is going to force them into anything. Because again, right, it's all about power, everybody. Okay, I really wanted to end on an optimistic note, but I think we will be wrapping up on this one because I feel like I'm gradually losing my voice, which, yeah, it happens sometimes. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I will see you. So the subscribers, we will be live on Sunday. Okay, we're gonna do the subscribers only live on Sunday like we did last time. Please check out the subscribers only space. If you have any questions that you would like for me to answer, if you cannot make it to the live, then I will still answer the questions and just post the answers separately as a highlight for subscribers only. So just a heads up to all of you, Sunday evening, okay? And the rest of you, I will see you all, I'm thinking Wednesday, but I will let you know this time 100% for realsies. I will let you know on my TikTok story. Or in the post somewhere on TikTok. I think this would make much more sense. So thank you everybody for watching. Thank you so much. It was good seeing you all. Hopefully, it will get better next time with the setup and everything. Take care. Okay, thank you for watching. Thank you. Mwah. I'll see you all soon. Bye everyone. Thank you. Okay, YouTube, sorry, it was a short one today because of all the issues, but still, we got to look at some things. Next time there will be more things for us to look at. So thank you, have a good evening too. Thank you, NH, thank you, Carolyn, thank you, Johan. I will see you all soon, okay? Take care, stay safe, stay sane, as always. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.